What if I told you that the discovery of penicillin wasn't just a lucky accident in a London laboratory, but actually a divine intervention that would forever change how we understand the relationship between medicine and spiritual healing? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely revolutionize your perspective on health, faith, and the mysterious ways that God works through science. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. We're living in extraordinary times, an era where the ancient walls separating the spiritual from the physical are beginning to crumble before our very eyes. For centuries, there's been this artificial divide between those who believe in prayer and those who trust in medicine, as if God somehow couldn't work through both a surgeon's hands and a believer's faith simultaneously. But what if this separation has been the greatest obstacle to true healing all along? Has this ever happened to you? You've taken medicine for an illness, but despite following every doctor's instruction perfectly, your recovery seemed slower than expected. Or perhaps you've witnessed someone else experience what medical professionals called remarkable healing, recovery that happened faster and more completely than anyone anticipated. What was the difference? What invisible factor determined why some patients respond dramatically to treatment while others struggle with the same medications? The answer lies in understanding something that the U.S. Army Medical Corps discovered after World War II, though they didn't fully realize the spiritual implications of their findings. When antibiotics like penicillin and sulfur compounds were introduced to battlefield medicine, they documented something unprecedented: an 85% reduction in mortality from severe infections. 85%. This wasn't just medical progress. This was a fundamental shift in how healing could occur when the right conditions were present. But here's what those military doctors couldn't measure in their statistics, yet observed repeatedly in their field hospitals. Patients who maintained hope, who had strong faith, who believed they would recover, consistently responded better to the same treatments. The medicine was identical, the procedures were standardized, yet something intangible was dramatically influencing outcomes. That something was the patient's consciousness, their spiritual state, their alignment with what ancient wisdom traditions have always called the divine healing principle. You see, we're not dealing with some mystical concept that contradicts science. We're uncovering a profound truth that enhances and amplifies everything modern medicine has achieved. When we begin to understand that antibiotics aren't just chemical compounds fighting bacteria, but instruments through which divine intelligence operates in the physical realm, everything changes. The medication in your medicine cabinet becomes more than pharmaceutical intervention. It becomes a tool that God can use with unprecedented effectiveness when your mind, body, and spirit are properly aligned. This isn't about choosing between prayer and penicillin, between faith and pharmaceuticals. This is about discovering how these seemingly different approaches to healing were always meant to work together, creating a synergy so powerful that what we once called miraculous becomes completely natural and reproducible. This transformation in understanding reveals a hidden truth that medical schools rarely teach and churches often overlook. Physical medicine acts on the body, while what we call scientific prayer acts directly on consciousness itself. When these two forces cooperate, the results aren't just added together. They're multiplied exponentially. Think of it like this. One plants the seed, the other waters it, but it's God who gives the growth. Neither the farmer nor the rain can claim complete credit for the harvest, yet both are absolutely essential. Your mindset about healing follows the same principle. The antibiotic does its work in your bloodstream, but your consciousness determines how receptive your body will be to that intervention. This isn't speculation. This is observable, measurable reality that's been documented in countless medical cases. If you're finding real, value in these insights about consciousness and healing, I genuinely appreciate you subscribing to this channel. We explore these profound connections between mind, body, and spirit regularly, always with practical applications you can use immediately in your own life. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation because understanding the mechanics of this process will completely change your approach to any health challenge you might face. Behind the scenes of every remarkable recovery, there's a specific method at work, a four-stage process that transforms patients from passive recipients of treatment into conscious agents of their own restoration. The first stage is silence, not just quiet, but a deliberate stilling of mental chatter and worry. In this space, something profound happens. Your nervous system shifts from survival mode into healing mode, allowing medications to distribute more effectively throughout your body. The second stage involves affirmation, but not the wishful thinking kind you might imagine. This is scientific prayer, specific, targeted declarations that align your subconscious mind with the healing process already underway. Visualization forms the third stage, where you actively participate in programming your body's response. This isn't fantasy or positive thinking, it's deliberately directing your immune system and cellular repair mechanisms through focused mental imagery. Finally, action, the conscious cooperation with medical treatment, while maintaining spiritual alignment throughout the entire journey. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it shifts you from being a victim of circumstances to becoming a partner in your own healing. The Gospel tells us the power of the Lord was with him to heal, and that same power operates today, but it requires your conscious participation to reach its full potential. Your decisions about how you think, what you visualize, and how you receive treatment create the environment where medical interventions can work at their highest capacity. This isn't about replacing your doctor with prayer or abandoning medicine for faith healing. This is about discovering the missing piece that makes everything else work better. When your consciousness is aligned with the healing process, antibiotics don't just fight infection. They become instruments through which divine intelligence operates with precision and power that amazes even experienced physicians. The impact of this understanding extends far beyond any single illness or treatment. It reveals that you have far more influence over your health outcomes than you've been led to believe. Your mind isn't separate from your body. It's the conductor of an incredibly sophisticated orchestra where every cell responds to the music of your thoughts and beliefs. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to be an active participant in my healing." If this perspective is opening new possibilities for you, this revelation brings us to something even more profound that most people never consider. That same divine power operating in your body right now doesn't disappear when you walk into a pharmacy or hospital. It's still there, still active, but it requires what I call a clean mental channel to flow at full capacity. Your thoughts, beliefs, and spiritual alignment become the determining factors in whether that power can work through every healing instrument available to you. Here's where the journey gets fascinating. When you truly recognize that God works in everything, including that bottle of antibiotics on your kitchen counter, something extraordinary happens. Your prayer doesn't just ask for healing, it actively enhances how that medicine functions in your system. This isn't wishful thinking or religious sentiment. This is understanding a fundamental principle that operates whether you're conscious of it or not, but works exponentially better when you align with it intentionally. The discovery of penicillin itself reveals this hidden truth in ways that most people completely miss. Alexander Fleming didn't just stumble upon a miracle cure through random chance or intellectual brilliance alone. What happened in that London laboratory in 1928 was actually divine intelligence manifesting through collective human consciousness, another step in the progressive revelation by which God continuously teaches humanity about the laws governing health and healing. This perspective transforms everything about how you approach medical treatment. Behind the scenes of every scientific breakthrough, there's a deeper intelligence at work, guiding human discovery towards solutions that serve our highest good. The timing wasn't coincidental. Penicillin emerged precisely when humanity needed it most, when global conflict was creating unprecedented medical challenges that required revolutionary solutions. But here's what makes this understanding so powerful for your personal transformation. Recognizing this divine intelligence in medical treatment requires developing what I call a firm will and deep understanding. It's not enough to passively hope that medicine will help you. You need to actively engage your consciousness in the healing process, creating the optimal conditions for divine power to operate through every intervention you receive. Your mindset becomes the bridge between the spiritual and physical realms of healing. When you take medication while maintaining spiritual awareness, you're not just swallowing pills or receiving injections. You're participating in a sacred process where divine intelligence uses physical means to restore your body's natural state of wholeness. This conscious participation amplifies the effectiveness of treatment in ways that medical science is only beginning to measure and understand. The impact of this realization extends into every decision you make about your health. Instead of feeling powerless when facing illness, you become an active collaborator in your recovery. Instead of seeing medicine and spirituality as separate domains, you recognize them as complementary aspects of a unified healing system designed to work together seamlessly. This new therapeutic horizon isn't just about treating disease differently. It's about fundamentally changing how we understand the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. When you grasp that your thoughts and prayers can literally enhance how antibiotics function in your bloodstream, you're accessing a level of healing potential that most people never even realize exists. The revelations keep deepening when you consider that this same principle applies to every aspect of medical care, from surgical procedures to diagnostic tests to recovery protocols. Your conscious participation becomes the catalyst that transforms routine medical treatment into extraordinary healing experiences. Write in the comments, divine intelligence works through everything if you're beginning to see medicine and spirituality as one unified system. This understanding brings us to a threshold that medicine has only recently crossed, marking the first time since the days of Hippocrates that we can actually see physical and spiritual science beginning to merge into one unified approach. What's happening behind the scenes of modern healthcare is a quiet revolution that most practitioners don't even realize they're participating in. We're discovering that the battlefield where health and disease are determined isn't primarily in your bloodstream or organs, it's in your consciousness. If this perspective on healing opened something new in your thinking, or if you felt that moment of recognition when we discussed the unity of medicine and prayer, a like on this video really helps spread this message to others who need to hear it. Here's a revelation that will completely transform how you think about illness. Behind every bacterial colony that takes hold in your body, there's an idea of disease that was first sustained in your subconscious mind. This isn't blame or guilt, this is empowerment. Because once you understand this hidden truth, you gain access to a level of healing that operates at the source rather than just the symptoms. Penicillin works brilliantly at the material level, attacking bacteria and stopping infection in its tracks. But scientific prayer works at an even deeper level. It addresses the mental and spiritual conditions that allowed the bacteria to gain a foothold in the first place. This is why some people seem to recover effortlessly from serious illnesses, while others struggle with minor infections. The difference isn't in their genetics or immune systems alone. It's in the quality of consciousness they bring to their healing journey. The law of mentalism reveals something that challenges everything we've been taught about disease causation. There are no purely material causes. Every physical manifestation begins as a mental pattern, an energetic blueprint that eventually expresses itself in the body. The bacteria you see under a microscope isn't the root cause of illness. It's simply the manifestation of deeper imbalances in consciousness that created the perfect environment for that bacteria to thrive. This principle operates like a broken mirror. When you see cracks in your reflection, you don't try to fix the mirror by painting over the reflected image. You address the actual mirror itself. Yet, this is exactly what conventional medicine often does. It treats the reflection, the physical symptoms, while leaving the mirror, the consciousness, unchanged. The result is temporary relief that often returns because the underlying cause was never addressed. Your mindset about this makes all the difference. When you understand that healing must occur at both the mental and physical levels simultaneously, you become incredibly strategic about your recovery process. You don't just take antibiotics and hope for the best. You actively participate in creating the mental and spiritual conditions that allow those antibiotics to work with maximum effectiveness while simultaneously addressing the consciousness patterns that contributed to the illness in the first place. This approach requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relation to disease. Instead of being a victim of random bacteria or unlucky circumstances, you become someone who understands that your thoughts, beliefs, and spiritual alignment play crucial roles in determining your health outcomes. This doesn't mean you caused your illness through negative thinking. It means you have far more power to influence your recovery than you've been led to believe. The impact of this understanding ripples through every decision you make about your health. When you grasp that consciousness and matter are intimately connected, every prayer becomes more focused, every medical treatment becomes more effective, and every step of your healing journey becomes an opportunity to align with the deeper intelligence that governs all restoration and renewal. Write in the comments, I understand the mental connection, if this perspective is shifting how you think about the relationship between consciousness and physical health. This consciousness-based approach reveals why true healing always requires more than just treating symptoms. It demands a fundamental transformation in how you think about disease itself. Scientific prayer doesn't reject the value of antibiotics or dismiss medical intervention. Instead, it transcends these treatments by addressing the mental patterns that attracted the illness in the first place, creating space for medicine to work at levels that often surprise even experienced physicians. When Alexander Fleming observed that simple fungus dissolving pathogenic cell structures in his laboratory dish, he was witnessing something far more profound than he realized. What he couldn't say within the scientific framework of his time, is that everything manifested in that petri dish had already been decreed in consciousness. The fungus, the bacteria, their interaction, even Fleming's presence in the laboratory at that precise moment, all of it was orchestrated by an intelligence working through human awareness to reveal healing possibilities that humanity desperately needed. This hidden truth becomes incredibly practical when you see it in action. Let me share a documented case that perfectly illustrates how consciousness and medicine work together to create results that neither could achieve alone. A young patient named James developed advanced septicemia, a life-threatening blood infection that had medical staff deeply concerned. He was immediately started on high-dose penicillin, the most powerful antibiotic available for his condition. But here's where the journey takes a fascinating turn. While receiving conventional medical treatment, James also participated in what's called four-phase spiritual treatment. The first phase involved cultivating deep silence to align his consciousness with divine intelligence. This wasn't passive meditation, it was active mental preparation that shifted his entire nervous system into optimal healing mode. The second phase focused on specific affirmations, declaring that divine life was actively dissolving all disease within his body, reprogramming his subconscious mind to cooperate fully with the healing process. The third phase involved powerful visualization, where James mentally saw his bloodstream as a river of pure light, washing away all infection and restoring perfect circulation throughout his body. This wasn't fantasy or wishful thinking. It was deliberate direction of his immune system and cellular repair mechanisms through focused mental imagery. The fourth phase included conscious blessing of his medication as an instrument of divine good, transforming his relationship with the antibiotic from fearful dependency to grateful partnership. The results speak for themselves. What medical staff expected to be a lengthy, complicated recovery turned into something remarkable. James's fever broke within 3 days. His blood cultures cleared within 5 days, and he was discharged completely healthy in 7 days. His doctors documented the recovery as unusually rapid and complete, but they couldn't measure the consciousness work that made such swift healing possible. This case reveals the profound impact that conscious participation can have on medical treatment outcomes. James didn't just passively receive antibiotics and hope for the best. He actively engaged his consciousness in the healing process, creating optimal conditions for the medication to work with extraordinary effectiveness. His mindset became the catalyst that transformed routine medical intervention into extraordinary restoration. The transformation occurs when you understand that your consciousness isn't separate from your treatment. It's the most important factor determining how well any intervention will work. Your decisions about how to think, what to visualize, and how to cooperate with medical care create the environment where healing can unfold at its highest potential. Write in the comments, consciousness creates the healing environment, if you're seeing how mental participation can amplify medical treatment. This understanding leads us to one of the most profound yet forgotten truths in all of healing. Disease is never actually a matter of the body itself, but rather a deviation that originates in the mind. Your body cannot become sick by itself because it possesses no independent will or decision-making capacity. It's an instrument, not an origin point. This essential revelation has been buried under mountains of material theories and treatments that focus exclusively on physical symptoms while completely ignoring the mental and spiritual dynamics that created those symptoms in the first place. This forgotten doctrine of mind-body unity transforms everything about how you approach health challenges. When you truly grasp that your body is responding to mental and emotional patterns rather than acting independently, you gain access to healing possibilities that seem impossible from a purely medical perspective. Your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and spiritual alignment become the primary factors determining whether your body expresses health or disease, vitality or degeneration. This channel is dedicated to revealing the hidden truths about healing that bridge science and spirituality. If that resonates with your journey toward understanding deeper wellness principles, subscribing means you'll never miss these transformative conversations we have together. The biblical declaration, "Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you?" isn't pious metaphor designed to make you feel better about yourself. This is an exact metaphysical statement revealing the true nature of your physical existence. Your body is literally the vehicle through which spiritual ideas express themselves in material form. Every organ, every system, every cellular function operates according to the quality of thought that sustains it moment by moment. This revelation completely shifts your relationship with illness and recovery. Instead of seeing your body as a machine that breaks down randomly or due to external factors beyond your control, you begin to understand it as a magnificent expression of consciousness that responds continuously to the mental and spiritual atmosphere you create. Behind the scenes of every health condition, there's always a corresponding pattern of thought, emotion, or spiritual misalignment that created the perfect conditions for that condition to manifest. Your mindset about this makes all the difference in your healing journey. When you recognize that your body is God's temple, you naturally begin treating it with greater reverence and care, but more importantly, you start taking responsibility for the mental and spiritual environment you're creating within that temple. You become conscious of how worry affects your digestion, how resentment impacts your circulation, how fear weakens your immune system, and how gratitude and peace restore optimal function. This understanding reveals why some people recover quickly from serious illnesses while others struggle with minor conditions that seem to persist indefinitely. The difference isn't primarily in their physical constitution or access to medical care. The difference lies in the quality of consciousness they bring to their healing process. Those who understand their body as a spiritual temple naturally create conditions that support rapid restoration, while those who see themselves as victims of random biological processes often struggle to achieve lasting health improvements. The impact of this realization extends far beyond treating specific diseases. It fundamentally changes how you live, how you think, how you make decisions about everything from diet and exercise to stress management and relationships. When you truly understand that your body is expressing spiritual ideas through physical form, every choice becomes an opportunity to create greater harmony between your consciousness and your physical experience. This ancient wisdom, validated by modern cases like James's remarkable recovery, shows us that the most powerful healing occurs when we honor both the spiritual nature of our being and the practical realities of medical intervention. Your body responds to this integrated approach because it recognizes the alignment between your conscious intention and the divine intelligence that designed every cell to function in perfect harmony. Write in the comments, "My body is a spiritual temple," if you're ready to embrace this profound shift in how you understand your physical existence. This temple understanding opens the door to an even more revolutionary truth. We live in what can only be described as a mental world. Everything that appears as a physical condition in your body is actually nothing more than a mental impression that has been projected onto matter and crystallized into form. This isn't mystical philosophy. This is the fundamental operating principle behind all manifestation. Change the mind, and you will inevitably change the body. Change the cause at the mental level, and you'll witness how physical effects dissolve naturally and completely. This revelation transforms your entire approach to health and healing because it reveals where your real power lies. Behind the scenes of every physical symptom, there's always a corresponding mental pattern that created and sustains it. Your thoughts aren't just random electrical activity in your brain, they're creative forces that literally shape your physical experience moment by moment. When you understand this principle, every decision about what to think, how to feel, and what to believe becomes a powerful tool for directing your health outcomes. Your immune system provides the perfect example of how this mental world principle operates in practical terms. What medical science describes as white blood cells, antibodies, and lymphocytes is actually the biological representation of a much greater spiritual truth. There's a divine presence within you that never sleeps, never takes a break, never stops, working to maintain your highest good. This presence is constantly organizing your body's defenses, coordinating cellular repair, and maintaining the delicate balance that keeps you healthy and vital. But here's where the journey gets fascinating. This inner presence responds directly to the quality of your thoughts and emotions. When you think in harmony, when your mind is serene, forgiving, and confident, that divine presence strengthens and becomes virtually invincible. Your immune system doesn't just function better. It operates at levels of efficiency and intelligence that amaze medical professionals who monitor such things. Conversely, when your thoughts are chaotic, fearful, or filled with resentment, that same presence becomes confused and less effective. This understanding reveals why identical medical treatments can produce such dramatically different results in different patients. Two people can receive the exact same antibiotic for the same condition, yet one recovers quickly, while the other struggles with side effects and slow progress. The difference isn't in their genetics or physical constitution alone. It's in the mental atmosphere they're creating within their bodies. One person's thoughts are supporting and amplifying the medication's effectiveness, while the other's thoughts are creating interference and resistance. The impact of recognizing this mental world principle extends into every aspect of your healing journey. When you truly grasp that your thoughts are constantly influencing your physical condition, you become incredibly strategic about what you allow into your consciousness. You start choosing thoughts that support healing rather than thoughts that perpetuate illness. You begin creating mental environments that enhance medical treatment rather than hinder it. This isn't about positive thinking or denial of reality. This is about understanding the hidden mechanics behind how consciousness and matter interact. Your mindset becomes the determining factor in whether your body's natural healing intelligence can operate at full capacity, or whether it's constantly working against mental interference that slows down recovery and limits possibilities. The transformation that occurs when you embrace this principle is profound. Instead of feeling like a victim of random biological processes, you become a conscious participant in your body's ongoing creation and maintenance. Every thought becomes an opportunity to support your health. Every emotion becomes a chance to strengthen your inner defenses, and every moment of mental alignment becomes a powerful tool for restoration. Write in the comments, "I choose thoughts that heal," if you're ready to take conscious control of the mental atmosphere within your body. This conscious control over your mental atmosphere becomes incredibly practical through what I call daily affirmation. But not the kind of wishful thinking or empty repetition that most people associate with affirmations. This is mental recalibration at the deepest level, a systematic approach to reprogramming your consciousness for optimal healing outcomes. When you pronounce each morning upon waking, "I am health," with genuine conviction, breathing deeply while you speak these words, you're not just saying something positive, you're literally instructing your subconscious mind and every cell in your body about their true nature and highest function. This practice becomes even more powerful when you repeat it throughout the day, creating a consistent vibrational frequency that supports healing at every level. Your decisions about what to affirm and how often to affirm it directly impact how quickly your body can shift from patterns of illness to patterns of wellness. This isn't superstition or religious ritual. This is precise mental technology that works according to specific laws governing how consciousness influences matter. The transformative power of this approach becomes crystal clear when you see it in documented action. Elena, a 54-year-old woman, faced kidney surgery with medical expectations of a 20-day convalescence period. Her doctors prepared her for a lengthy recovery process, with all the typical complications and gradual healing timeline that such procedures normally require. But Eleanor had learned something that most patients never discover: how to actively participate in her body's healing response through strategic consciousness work. Throughout her recovery, Elena practiced hourly silent affirmations, declaring with unwavering faith, "The Christ in me reorganizes my entire body." This wasn't passive hoping or desperate pleading. This was conscious direction of her body's repair mechanisms through focused spiritual alignment. Every hour, she took time to connect with the divine intelligence within her, affirming its active presence and healing power in every cell, every organ, every system that needed restoration. The results speak to the profound impact that mental alignment can have on physical recovery. By day 10, Elena's inflammatory levels had returned to normal, a process that typically takes much longer after major surgery. Her body was responding to her conscious participation in ways that surprised even her experienced medical team. Instead of the expected 20-day hospital stay, Elena was discharged in just 13 days with complete healing and no complications. This case demonstrates the law of mental influence on healing in action. Elena's hourly affirmations weren't just comforting words, they were precise instructions to her consciousness, creating optimal conditions for her body's natural healing intelligence to operate at maximum efficiency. Her mindset became the catalyst that accelerated every aspect of her recovery, from wound healing to pain management to overall systemic restoration. Behind the scenes of Elena's remarkable recovery was a fundamental shift in how she related to her surgery and healing process. Instead of seeing herself as a passive victim of medical circumstances, she became an active partner in her restoration. Her thoughts aligned with divine healing principles, her emotions supported rather than hindered her recovery, and her spiritual practices created an internal environment where healing could unfold at its highest potential. This reveals the hidden truth that your conscious participation in healing can dramatically alter medical outcomes. When you understand how to work with, rather than against your body's natural healing mechanisms, even major surgical procedures become opportunities for demonstrating the power of aligned consciousness. Your recovery timeline, pain levels, complications, and overall healing quality all respond to the mental and spiritual atmosphere you create. Write in the comments, "I am an active partner in my healing," if you're seeing how conscious participation can transform medical outcomes. This active partnership reveals something even more profound about how healing actually works, what's known as the principle of divine correspondence. Everything that occurs in your external experience, including every health condition you've ever faced, is an exact reflection of your internal state. This isn't about blame or guilt, this is about recognizing where your true power lies. Every condition of health or illness isn't a primary cause that happened to you randomly. It's a natural consequence of the sustained quality of your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual alignment over time. Your body doesn't make independent decisions about whether to be healthy or sick. It doesn't wake up one morning and decide to develop an infection or create inflammation. Your body reflects the mental and emotional patterns you've been sustaining, sometimes consciously, but often unconsciously. This revelation transforms everything because it means that by changing your internal state, you can directly influence your external health experience in ways that seem miraculous, but are actually following precise spiritual laws. Behind the scenes of this correspondence principle operates a fascinating cycle that modern science is only beginning to understand and measure. Every sustained idea in your mind generates a corresponding emotion. That emotion then triggers your body to release specific chemistry into your bloodstream. That chemistry directly affects your cells, influencing everything from immune function to healing, capacity to pain perception. This isn't theory, this is measurable, observable reality that explains why identical medical treatments can produce such dramatically different results in different people. When you think with fear about your health condition, you inevitably feel anxiety, worry, or dread. These emotions immediately signal your body to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. While these chemicals can be helpful in short-term emergencies, when they circulate continuously due to chronic fearful thinking, they actually suppress immune function, slow healing, increase inflammation, and create the perfect internal environment for illness to persist or worsen. Conversely, when you think in peace about your healing journey, when you maintain thoughts of gratitude and confidence in your body's wisdom, you feel emotions of calm, trust, and appreciation. These emotions trigger the release of entirely different chemistry. Beneficial substances like endorphins, oxytocin, and dopamine that enhance immune function, accelerate healing, reduce pain naturally, and create optimal conditions for medication to work at maximum effectiveness. This cycle reveals why your mindset about medical treatment makes such a dramatic difference in outcomes. The same antibiotic administered to two patients with identical conditions can produce vastly different results based entirely on the mental and emotional atmosphere each patient creates within their body. One person's fearful thoughts create chemical interference that limits the medication's effectiveness, while another person's peaceful confidence creates chemical enhancement that amplifies healing beyond what medical science would normally expect. Understanding this cycle puts you in conscious control of one of the most powerful factors determining your health outcomes. Every moment becomes an opportunity to choose thoughts that generate healing chemistry rather than thoughts that create chemical interference. Your decisions about how to think about your condition, your treatment, your recovery, and your future health directly influence the biochemical environment within which all healing must occur. This hidden truth about mind-body correspondence explains why practices like Elena's hourly affirmations produce such remarkable physical results. She wasn't just speaking positive words. She was systematically creating the optimal chemical environment for healing by maintaining thoughts and emotions that triggered the release of her body's most powerful healing substances. The impact of recognizing this cycle extends far beyond treating specific illnesses. It reveals that you have conscious access to your body's pharmacy, the ability to generate healing chemistry naturally through strategic thinking and emotional alignment. Write in the comments, "I control my healing chemistry," if you're understanding how your thoughts directly influence your body's biochemical environment. This access to your body's natural healing chemistry becomes even more powerful when combined with what's known as scientific prayer. But this isn't the superstitious pleading or desperate bargaining that many people associate with prayer. True scientific prayer is a precise mental operation that systematically aligns human consciousness with the immutable laws of spirit. When this alignment is applied in perfect synchrony with physical treatment like antibiotics, the result isn't substitution of one method for another, but mutual potentiation that amplifies both approaches beyond what either could achieve independently. This synergy reveals one of the most profound hidden truths about healing. Prayer and medicine were never meant to compete with each other. They're designed to work together as complementary aspects of a unified healing system. Your mindset about this cooperation makes all the difference in how effectively both approaches can function. When you understand prayer as scientific technology rather than religious ritual, you can apply it with the same precision and confidence that you'd apply any other healing modality. The transformation occurs through what's called ordered treatment, a systematic four-phase process that prepares your consciousness to receive maximum benefit from medical intervention. The first phase involves recognition, consciously acknowledging God as the only true cause and source of all healing power. This isn't theological doctrine. It's practical alignment that shifts your consciousness from fear-based thinking to truth-based thinking, immediately changing your biochemical environment and optimizing your body's receptivity to treatment. The second phase focuses on negation, deliberately denying the germ or illness any ultimate authority while affirming its complete lack of intelligence, power, or permanence. This isn't denial of physical symptoms or medical reality. This is strategic mental work that prevents your consciousness from giving more power to the disease than to the healing forces available to address it. By withdrawing mental energy from the illness and redirecting it toward restoration, you create optimal conditions for medicine to work unobstructed by fear or resistance. The third phase involves powerful affirmation, declaring the truth of divine life actively operating in every cell of your body. This goes far beyond positive thinking or wishful hoping. This is conscious direction of your body's healing intelligence, instructing every system to align with perfect health and harmony. When you affirm divine life in your cells while taking medication, you're essentially programming your body to receive maximum benefit from the treatment while minimizing any potential side effects. The fourth phase culminates in gratitude, giving sincere thanks that healing is already accomplished, even before physical evidence appears. This isn't pretending that symptoms don't exist. This is aligning with the spiritual law that governs all manifestation. What you accept with gratitude in consciousness inevitably appears in experience. Your grateful recognition that healing is already complete in the spiritual realm creates the pathway for that healing to manifest in the physical realm. Behind the scenes of this four-phase process, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system shifts from survival mode to healing mode. Your immune system receives clear instructions to cooperate. With treatment, your circulation improves to ensure optimal medication distribution, and your entire body becomes a more receptive environment for therapeutic intervention. The impact extends beyond just treating current symptoms. It establishes patterns of consciousness that support long-term health and vitality. This ordered approach explains why some patients seem to recover almost effortlessly, while others struggle with the same conditions and treatments. The difference lies in the quality of consciousness they bring to their healing journey. Those who understand and apply these four phases create ideal conditions for both spiritual and medical healing forces to operate at maximum efficiency. Write in the comments, "I align with healing laws," if you're ready to apply this systematic approach to enhance your medical treatment through conscious spiritual alignment. This systematic spiritual alignment creates results that consistently amaze medical professionals, as demonstrated perfectly in the case of Emily Ray, a 29-year-old woman who faced one of the most serious respiratory challenges possible, double pneumonia affecting both lungs. Her condition was critical, with medical staff preparing for an extended hospital stay and uncertain prognosis. Emily received aggressive intravenous antibiotic treatment, the standard medical protocol for such severe infection, but something extraordinary was happening alongside her conventional care. Emily's family understood the power of conscious spiritual participation in healing and organized continuous treatment, combining medical intervention with hourly spiritual decrees. Every hour, around the clock, someone was affirming God works now with unwavering faith and conviction. This wasn't passive hoping or desperate pleading. This was systematic alignment with divine healing intelligence operating through every aspect of Emily's treatment. The family created a field of consciousness that supported, rather than hindered, her body's response to medication. The results speak to the profound impact of this integrated approach. Emily's fever, which had been dangerously high and resistant to conventional treatment, began reducing within 48 hours. By 72 hours, radiographic evidence showed complete resolution of the pneumonia in both lungs, a recovery timeline that surprised even her experienced pulmonologist. Instead of the weeks-long hospitalization that such cases typically require, Emily was discharged on day 5 with complete healing and no residual complications. Behind the scenes of Emily's remarkable recovery was the demonstration of something much larger than an isolated healing incident. Her case represents synergy between science and spirit operating, according to precise laws that produce predictable results when properly applied. The antibiotics did their work at the physical level, while the spiritual treatment created optimal conditions for that. Medication to achieve maximum effectiveness with minimal side effects. This pattern of accelerated healing when spiritual treatment accompanies medical care has been documented repeatedly in New York hospitals, revealing a hidden truth that medical institutions are only beginning to acknowledge. Case after case shows the same phenomenon. Patients who combine medical treatment with conscious spiritual alignment consistently experience faster recovery, fewer complications, and more complete healing than those who rely solely on conventional intervention. The documented cases span every type of condition imaginable. Chronic osteomyelitis that had resisted months of antibiotic treatment suddenly responded when patients learned to align their consciousness with healing principles. Puerperal fever that threatened young mothers' lives resolved rapidly when family members applied systematic spiritual treatment alongside medical care. War wound infections that had become dangerous, complications healed with unprecedented speed when veterans embraced both medical intervention and spiritual alignment. Bronchopneumonia cases showed the same pattern. Medical treatment became dramatically more effective when patients understood how to cooperate consciously with their healing process. Severe intestinal infections that typically required extended hospitalization resolved in days rather than weeks when spiritual practices supported medical intervention. The common thread in every case was prior gratitude and faith, accelerating the healing process by creating optimal conditions for treatment to work. This isn't coincidence or placebo effect. This is evidence of fundamental laws governing how consciousness and matter interact in the healing process. Your mindset and spiritual alignment don't just make you feel better about your treatment, they literally enhance how effectively that treatment can work in your body. The transformation occurs when you understand that every medication, every procedure, every therapeutic intervention becomes more powerful when consciousness cooperates rather than resists. These documented healings reveal that the future of medicine lies not in choosing between spiritual and scientific approaches, but in understanding how they work together as complementary aspects of a unified healing system designed to restore health at the deepest possible level. Write in the comments, "Consciousness amplifies medicine," if you're seeing how spiritual alignment can enhance medical treatment effectiveness. This unified healing system reveals something crucial that most people never realize. The greatest enemy of health isn't any specific bacteria, virus, or disease condition. The greatest enemy is fear itself. Sustained fear operating in your consciousness is more dangerous than any pathogen because it creates the perfect internal environment for illness to take hold and persist. When you live in chronic fear about your health, your relationships, your future, or any aspect of your life, you're triggering the continuous release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol throughout your system. These chemicals might save your life in a genuine emergency, but when they circulate constantly due to fearful thinking, they become toxic to your well-being. Your body enters a state of permanent emergency that weakens immune defenses, alters blood composition in ways that promote inflammation, blocks proper digestion, interrupts restorative sleep patterns, and leaves you vulnerable to infections that a healthy system would easily overcome. Fear literally changes your internal chemistry from healing to illness, from strength to vulnerability. This hidden truth about fear's impact explains why some people seem to catch every illness going around, while others remain healthy despite identical exposure to the same conditions. The difference isn't primarily in their genetics or immune system strength, it's in the quality of consciousness they maintain. Those who live in fear create internal chemistry that welcomes disease, while those who maintain peace and confidence create chemistry that repels illness and supports rapid recovery when healing is needed. Now, I want to go even deeper into the transformation that occurs when you understand the real antidote to fear-based living. The solution isn't positive thinking or trying to suppress fearful thoughts through willpower. The antidote is contemplation of what's called the inner Christ, not as a historical religious figure, but as a living principle, the divine seed of perfect health and wholeness that dwells within every human being regardless of their religious background or beliefs. This inner Christ represents the part of you that never gets sick, never ages, never weakens, and never dies. It's the eternal life force that animates your body and coordinates every healing process. When you learn to rest your attention on this divine presence within you, something measurable happens in your physiology. Your nervous system shifts from fear-based emergency mode to peace-based healing mode, creating optimal conditions for restoration at every level. The practice is surprisingly simple, yet profoundly effective. A 10-minute meditation each day, practicing the affirmation, "I rest in God's life and my body rests," produces measurable effects that medical professionals can document and verify. Patients with high blood pressure see their readings stabilize naturally without medication adjustments. People suffering from gastritis find their digestive issues completely eliminated. Chronic pain conditions often resolve as the body's natural healing mechanisms are freed from fear-based interference. This isn't religious dogma or mystical theory. This is practical spiritual technology that works according to specific laws governing how consciousness affects physiology. Your decisions about where to focus your attention directly influence your body's chemistry, and when you consistently focus on the divine life within you rather than on fears about what might go wrong, you create an internal environment where healing occurs naturally and effortlessly. Behind the scenes of this contemplative practice, your entire system begins operating from a place of trust rather than survival. Your immune system receives clear instructions to function optimally. Your circulation improves to ensure proper nutrient distribution. Your endocrine system balances naturally, and every organ begins working in harmony rather than struggling against fear-induced stress hormones. The impact of this shift extends far beyond physical health into every area of your life experience. When you're no longer operating from fear, your mental clarity improves, your relationships become more harmonious, your creative abilities expand, and your overall sense of well-being transforms in ways that seem miraculous, but are actually the natural result of aligning with your true spiritual nature. Write in the comments, "I choose peace over fear," if you're ready to embrace this inner transformation that supports healing at the deepest level. This inner transformation reveals an even more profound understanding of how healing actually occurs in your body through what's known as the law of circulation. Your blood isn't simply biological fluid pumping through your veins and arteries. It's a living symbol of spirit circulation within your entire being. Just as your blood carries oxygen, nutrients, and healing substances to every corner of your physical body, the spirit carries order, wisdom, and divine life force to every cell of your consciousness, creating the foundation upon which all health and vitality depend. This revelation transforms how you think about circulation problems, blood pressure issues, cardiovascular health, and even how medications distribute throughout your system. When you understand that your physical circulation is directly connected to your spiritual circulation, you gain access to healing approaches that work at levels far deeper than conventional medicine typically reaches. Your mindset about circulation becomes a powerful tool for enhancing every aspect of your cardiovascular health and overall vitality. Behind the scenes of every circulation challenge lies a corresponding pattern in how life force energy flows through your consciousness. Blocked emotions create blocked arteries. Restricted thinking. Patterns create restricted blood flow. Stagnant spiritual energy creates stagnant physical circulation. But when you learn to enhance your spiritual circulation through specific practices, your physical circulation responds with improved function, better medication distribution, and enhanced healing capacity throughout your entire system. The journey toward optimal circulation involves understanding and practicing what's called the rhythm of divine life flow. This isn't abstract meditation or passive visualization. This is active participation in directing life force energy through your consciousness and body using rhythmic decrees combined with conscious breathing. The practice centers around a powerful affirmation. Life flows in me, life cleanses in me, life circulates in me, repeated with specific timing and breathing patterns that optimize both spiritual and physical circulation. This rhythmic practice should be implemented upon waking each morning, at midday, and before. Sleeping each evening, creating 3 daily opportunities to enhance your circulation at both spiritual and physical levels. As you speak each phrase, you accompany it with deep, conscious breathing, while actively visualizing pure, healing energy, penetrating your arteries, nourishing your tissues, and carrying away any blockages or impurities that might be hindering optimal flow. The impact of this practice becomes measurable within days of consistent application. People with circulation problems often notice improved warmth in their extremities, better energy levels, enhanced mental clarity, and more effective medication absorption. This isn't placebo effect. This is direct intervention in the energetic patterns that govern physical circulation, creating improvements that medical tests can verify and document. Your decisions about how consistently to practice this circulation enhancement directly influence how quickly you'll see results. When you treat this as seriously as you would treat taking prescribed medication, the benefits accumulate rapidly and create lasting improvements in cardiovascular health. The visualization component isn't fantasy. It's conscious direction of your body's circulation mechanisms through focused intention and spiritual alignment. This practice reveals the hidden truth that you have far more conscious control over your circulation than medical science typically acknowledges. Your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual practices directly influence blood flow, vessel flexibility, heart rhythm, and how effectively healing substances reach every part of your body. When circulation is optimal at both spiritual and physical levels, every other healing modality becomes more effective because the delivery system is functioning at peak capacity. The transformation occurs when you realize that enhancing circulation isn't just about cardiovascular health. It's about creating optimal conditions for every healing process in your body. Better circulation means better immune function, improved tissue repair, enhanced detoxification, and more efficient delivery of both natural healing substances and any medications you might be taking. Write in the comments, "Life flows freely through me," if you're ready to begin this powerful practice for enhancing circulation at every level of your being. This enhanced circulation creates the perfect foundation for understanding one of the most powerful yet overlooked aspects of healing, the regenerative power of the spoken word itself. When the Gospel of John declares, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God," this isn't religious poetry or theological abstraction. This is a revelation of creation's internal structure, showing us that the Word represents the fundamental ordering principle of the entire universe. The archetypal intelligence that gives form to chaos, organizes matter at the molecular level, and literally structures every cell in your body. This understanding transforms everything about how you approach healing because it reveals that your words aren't just sounds vibrating through the air. Your spoken words carry creative power that directly influences cellular regeneration, tissue repair, and the fundamental organizing patterns that determine whether your body expresses health or disease. Behind the scenes of every healing process, there's always an organizing intelligence at work, and your conscious use of word power allows you to cooperate with that intelligence in ways that accelerate restoration beyond what medical science alone can achieve. The journey into word-powered healing reveals that your cells are literally listening to every word you speak, especially words spoken with conviction and spiritual understanding. When you declare truth about your body's divine nature and healing capacity, you're not just expressing hope or positive thinking, you're actually giving precise instructions to the organizing intelligence that governs cellular function, immune response, and tissue regeneration throughout your entire system. This principle becomes incredibly practical when you see it in documented action. A 62-year-old woman had been struggling with a long-standing varicose ulcer that had resisted conventional treatment for months. Her wound care routine had become discouraging and seemingly endless, with little progress despite proper medical attention. Everything changed when she learned to combine her physical wound care with specific spoken declarations that aligned her consciousness with divine healing principles. During each dressing change, instead of focusing on the appearance of the wound or worrying about slow progress, she was instructed to declare with unwavering faith, "God's word organizes this skin. All things were made by Him." This wasn't passive recitation or hopeful wishing. This was conscious direction of the creative intelligence that governs all cellular regeneration. Each time she spoke these words, she was essentially programming her cells to remember their original divine pattern and organize accordingly. The results demonstrate the profound impact that spoken truth can have on physical healing processes. What had been extraordinarily slow healing suddenly became extraordinarily accelerated epithelialization. The wound that had persisted for months began closing rapidly, with new healthy tissue forming at rates that amazed her. Medical team. Within 2 weeks, the ulcer had completely healed with no residual scarring or complications. This case reveals the hidden truth about how your words directly interface with your body's healing mechanisms. When you speak words that align with divine truth about your body's perfection and healing capacity, you're activating the same creative principle that originally formed every cell, every organ, every system. Your mindset about the power of spoken words becomes a determining factor in how quickly and completely your body can restore itself to optimal function. The transformation occurs when you realize that every conversation with yourself, every declaration about your health, every word you speak about your condition is either supporting or hindering your healing process. Your decisions about what words to use when discussing your health directly influence how your cells organize, how your immune system functions, and how effectively any medical treatment can work within your system. This understanding reveals that healing isn't just about what you put into your body or what procedures you undergo. It's about the quality of intelligence you're expressing through your conscious use of creative word power aligned with divine truth. Write in the comments, "My words organize my cells," if you're beginning to understand how spoken declarations can directly influence your body's healing processes. This cellular response to spoken truth becomes even more powerful when systematically applied through daily practice, particularly through what's known as the 70-word morning prayer that specifically aligns your soul with the creative word before you even begin your day. This isn't just another morning routine or spiritual ritual. This is strategic programming of your consciousness to operate from divine truth rather than fear-based thinking throughout the entire day ahead. The prayer itself creates a comprehensive framework for healing. Alignment. Father of all life, on this day I will align with your word. My thoughts will be light and my words will be order. Every cell in my body listens to you. Life flows through me with perfect wisdom. Nothing can alter the divine plan in me. When spoken with genuine conviction each morning, these 70 words establish the vibrational foundation upon which all your healing processes will build throughout the day. Your mindset about starting each day with this alignment makes an enormous difference in how effectively your body can maintain health and respond to any therapeutic interventions you might need. Instead of waking up with worry about symptoms, concerns about medication, or anxiety about medical appointments, you begin from a place of spiritual authority that recognizes divine intelligence as the organizing principle behind every healing process in your body. This morning practice becomes especially crucial when you understand how deeply your emotional state affects your physical health, particularly in areas like digestion, where the mind-body connection operates most directly. The digestive system isn't just a collection of organs processing food. It's the first place where your emotional state gets imprinted into your physical experience. Behind the scenes of every digestive issue lies a corresponding emotional pattern that creates the conditions for either healthy function or chronic problems. Now, I want to go even deeper into this hidden truth about digestion because understanding this connection can revolutionize how you approach gastrointestinal health. Digestion is not merely a chemical process involving acids, enzymes, and mechanical breakdown of food. Digestion is profoundly spiritual, intimately connected to your ability to process not just nutrients, but also emotions, experiences, and relationships. What you don't forgive emotionally, you literally retain physically. What you don't release from your heart, you ferment in your gut. What you hate or resent, you ulcerate in your digestive system. This revelation explains why no gastrointestinal condition exists without unresolved resentment operating somewhere at its root. The stomach, intestines, liver, and entire digestive tract respond directly to your emotional atmosphere, particularly your capacity for forgiveness and emotional release. Your decisions about whether to hold grudges or practice forgiveness directly influence everything from acid production to intestinal inflammation to nutrient absorption throughout your entire digestive system. The impact of this understanding transforms how you approach digestive problems because it reveals that lasting healing must address both the physical symptoms and the emotional patterns that created those symptoms. Taking antacids or following bland diets might provide temporary relief, but if the underlying resentment remains unaddressed, the digestive issues will persist or return in other forms. True digestive healing requires conscious forgiveness work alongside any medical treatment. This mind-gut connection operates so directly that you can often trace specific digestive symptoms to particular relationships or emotional wounds that need healing. Chronic heartburn frequently corresponds to feelings of being hurt or betrayed by someone close to you. Intestinal cramping often reflects inner tension about conflicts you haven't resolved. Nausea can indicate deep rejection of situations or people you haven't learned to accept or release. The transformation occurs when you realize that healing your digestion might be more about healing your relationships and releasing old hurts than about changing your diet or taking medication. Your digestive system becomes a barometer of your emotional health, showing you exactly where forgiveness work needs to happen for complete healing to occur. Write in the comments, "I release what I cannot digest," if you're seeing the connection between emotional patterns and digestive health. This connection between emotional patterns and physical symptoms becomes incredibly practical through what's known as the letter of forgiveness exercise. A simple, yet profoundly effective technique for releasing the emotional blockages that create digestive and other health problems. This isn't therapy or psychological analysis. This is direct intervention in the emotional patterns that are literally creating chemistry in your body that either supports or hinders healing at the cellular level. The process begins by writing a brief letter to the person with whom you maintain your oldest or deepest resentment. This letter isn't meant to be diplomatic or kind. It's meant to be completely honest about everything you've been holding inside, all the hurt, anger, disappointment, or betrayal that you've been carrying. You write this letter with no intention of ever sending it, which allows you to express everything authentically without worrying about consequences or other people's reactions. Behind the scenes of this exercise, something profound happens in your nervous system and digestive chemistry. As you write out these long-held emotions, you're literally moving stuck energy through your system, beginning the process of releasing what your body has been storing as tension, inflammation, and digestive dysfunction. Your mindset during this writing process matters enormously. You're not trying to justify or analyze, just honestly expressing what's been trapped inside. The transformation deepens when you take the next step, reading this letter aloud in front of a mirror while looking directly into your own eyes. This face-to-face encounter with yourself while expressing these emotions creates a powerful release mechanism that goes far beyond what writing alone can accomplish. You're witnessing your own pain with compassion while simultaneously taking responsibility for releasing it rather than continuing to carry it. The daily exercise culminates with a specific declaration that seals the forgiveness process. I release you, and I release myself. I let it go in God. I am at peace. This isn't just words. This is conscious direction of your emotional and physical chemistry toward freedom rather than bondage. Many people experience immediate digestive relief after completing this exercise because they've literally stopped creating the stress chemistry that was causing their symptoms. This forgiveness work creates the perfect foundation for understanding another crucial aspect of healing, the power of health visualization through mental imagery. Everything humans see in the external world, including every condition in your body, was first an image held in consciousness. Your body is essentially a screen upon which your mind projects whatever images you've been consistently holding about health, disease, aging, and vitality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this visualization principle because understanding how it works gives you conscious access to one of the most powerful healing tools available. Your mind functions like a projector, continuously broadcasting images onto the screen of your physical experience. True healing requires deliberate transformation of your internal health image, learning to see your body as already healthy, active, and complete with absolute clarity, unwavering regularity, and unshakable faith. Most people unknowingly use visualization in reverse, constantly picturing themselves as sick, weak, or declining. They replay images of symptoms, imagine worst-case scenarios, and visualize their bodies as broken or failing. This negative visualization becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because the body responds to whatever images the mind consistently projects. Your decisions about what images to hold in your consciousness directly determine what your body manifests as physical experience. The impact of shifting to positive, healing-focused visualization can be measured and documented. When you consistently see yourself as vibrant, energetic, and completely healthy, your immune system receives those images as instructions and begins organizing accordingly. Your cellular regeneration follows the blueprint you're providing through visualization, and your overall physical expression starts aligning with the images you're deliberately choosing to project. Write in the comments, I project images of perfect health, if you're ready to take conscious control of the mental images that shape your physical experience. This conscious control over mental imagery becomes extraordinarily practical through what's called the white screen method, a specific visualization technique that allows you to systematically reprogram your body's blueprint for health and vitality. This isn't passive daydreaming or wishful thinking. This is active participation in directing your body's regenerative processes through focused mental imagery that communicates directly with your cellular intelligence. The journey begins by closing your eyes and deliberately silencing the constant chatter of your conscious mind. In this quiet space, you project onto your soul's internal screen a vivid movie in which your body appears already completely healthy, strong and functioning in perfect harmony. You see yourself moving with energy and grace, breathing freely, digesting comfortably, sleeping peacefully, and radiating the unmistakable glow of vibrant health. This visualization must be sustained without tension or anxiety. You're not trying to force anything, just gently holding these healing images with confidence and faith. Behind the scenes of this practice, something remarkable happens in your nervous system and cellular communication networks. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and actual physical reality. When you consistently project images of perfect health, your body begins responding as if that perfect health is already present, activating regenerative processes and optimizing function across every system. Your mindset about the reality of these images determines how powerfully they can influence your physical experience. The transformation occurs through daily repetition until your mind completely accepts these health images as true. This isn't self-deception. This is conscious cooperation with the creative principles that govern how consciousness manifests as physical experience. When your internal vision of yourself shifts from sick to healthy, from weak to strong, from declining to thriving, your body has no choice but to follow that new blueprint because it's receiving consistent instructions to organize around perfect health rather than disease patterns. This white screen method reveals the hidden truth that you have far more influence over your healing process than most medical approaches acknowledge. Your visualization practice becomes as important as any medication or treatment because it creates the mental and emotional environment in which all other healing modalities must operate. When your inner vision supports healing, everything else works better. When your inner vision conflicts with healing, even the best treatments struggle to achieve lasting results. Now, I want to go even deeper into the source of all healing power because understanding this completely transforms how you approach any health challenge. The true healer is never external to you. It's not found in your doctor's expertise, your medication's chemistry, or any treatment protocol, no matter how advanced. The true healer is the Christ within you. But this isn't Jesus as a historical religious figure. This is Christ as a living principle, as active spiritual presence, as impersonal divine intelligence dwelling in every cell of your body, eternally available and constantly waiting to be recognized and activated. This inner Christ represents the part of you that never gets sick, never ages, never weakens, and never dies. It's the eternal life force that coordinates every healing process, regenerates every cell, and maintains the intricate balance that keeps your body functioning optimally. When you learn to recognize and consciously cooperate with this inner physician, healing becomes natural, effortless, and often remarkably rapid because you're aligning with the same intelligence that originally created every organ, every system, every miraculous function of your physical being. The impact of recognizing this inner Christ physician extends far beyond treating specific symptoms or conditions. It fundamentally changes your relationship with illness, aging, and medical treatment. Instead of feeling powerless and dependent on external interventions, you become an active partner with the divine intelligence that knows exactly how to restore perfect health to every aspect of your being. Your decisions about whether to acknowledge and cooperate with this inner healer directly influence how effectively any external treatment can work, because all healing ultimately depends on your body's own regenerative capacity responding to the guidance of this inner wisdom. Write in the comments, "The healer lives within me," if you're beginning to recognize this divine intelligence as the true source of all healing power. This recognition of the inner Christ physician becomes incredibly practical when facing major medical interventions like surgery, where the stakes are highest and the need for divine guidance is most apparent. Before any significant medical procedure, there's a specific three-phrase silent prayer that creates optimal conditions for both the surgery itself and your recovery process. This isn't religious ritual or superstitious hoping. This is strategic alignment with the divine intelligence that can guide every aspect of your medical care. The prayer activates three distinct dimensions of Christ consciousness within you. Christ in me is the intelligence that guides every act. Christ in me is the life that reconstructs every cell. Christ in me is the peace that governs this hour. When repeated internally before surgery, these declarations align your consciousness with divine intelligence rather than fear, divine life force rather than anxiety about outcomes, and divine peace rather than the stress that typically accompanies medical procedures. Behind the scenes of this prayer practice, something measurable happens in your physiology that medical professionals can document and verify. Patients who use this approach consistently experience faster recovery times, significantly less post-operative pain, reduced need for pain medication, fewer complications, and greater emotional stability throughout their entire healing journey. This isn't placebo effect. This is conscious cooperation with the healing intelligence that coordinates every aspect of tissue repair, immune response, and systemic restoration. Your mindset about surgery transforms completely when you understand that the divine intelligence guiding your surgeon's hands is the same intelligence that will orchestrate your recovery. Instead of feeling like a passive victim of medical circumstances, you become an active participant in a sacred process where human skill and divine wisdom work together to restore your body to optimal function. This understanding becomes especially crucial during what's known as convalescence, that sacred time period following illness or surgery when your soul literally decides whether to return to full health and vitality or revert to old patterns of limitation and decline. Most people don't realize that convalescence isn't just physical recovery, it's a spiritual crossroads where the decisions you make about your thoughts, expectations, and self-image determine whether you'll emerge stronger than before or settle for partial healing. Now, I want to go even deeper into this transformation opportunity because understanding the spiritual dynamics of convalescence can completely change your recovery experience. Health isn't just the absence of disease. Health is an expression of divine prosperity, the expansion of life force, energy, joy, and capacity flowing through your entire being. A truly prosperous body is abundant in oxygen, reaching every tissue, well-nourished cells receiving optimal nutrition, free circulation, delivering healing substances throughout your system, and vibrant energy supporting every activity you want to pursue. The journey through convalescence becomes a powerful opportunity to establish new patterns of thinking about your body's capabilities and your overall life experience. Instead of focusing on what you've lost or how long recovery is taking, you can use this time to systematically rebuild your consciousness around abundance, vitality, and expanded possibilities. Your decisions during this vulnerable period literally reshape your body's blueprint for future health and vitality. The impact of approaching convalescence from an abundance mindset rather than a limitation mindset can be profound and lasting. When you see recovery as an opportunity to become healthier than you were before the illness or surgery, when you use this time to establish better habits and more positive thought patterns, when you treat convalescence as spiritual investment in your future well-being, you emerge not just healed, but transformed. This abundance approach recognizes that your body wants to heal, wants to thrive, wants to express optimal function. The question isn't whether healing is possible, the question is whether you'll create the mental and emotional conditions that allow your body's natural prosperity to flourish, or whether you'll inadvertently limit your recovery through fear-based thinking and expectation of ongoing limitation. Write in the comments, "I choose abundant healing," if you're ready to approach your recovery as an opportunity for transformation rather than just restoration. This abundant healing approach becomes systematically practical through what's known as the 10-day regeneration plan, a structured method for maximizing your transformation during the crucial recovery period when your consciousness is most malleable and your body most responsive to new patterns. This isn't just another recovery routine. This is strategic spiritual technology that ensures you emerge from illness or surgery with expanded capacity rather than diminished expectations about your health and vitality. The journey involves completing daily worksheets that address multiple dimensions of your being simultaneously. Each day begins with a specific abundance affirmation focused on your body, declaring prosperity and vitality rather than limitation and decline. You engage in brief biblical writing and meditation, copying healing passages by hand to imprint divine truth directly into your consciousness. You perform a concrete act of kindness toward another person, activating the flow of giving that enhances your own receiving of healing energy. Finally, you maintain a progress registry, noting even minimal physical improvements to systematically strengthen your mind's acceptance of continuous advancement rather than stagnation. Behind the scenes of this comprehensive approach, you're literally rewiring your consciousness for health, abundance, and expanded possibilities. Your mindset during recovery becomes the foundation upon which all future health experiences will build. Instead of unconsciously accepting limitation as normal or inevitable, you're actively programming your consciousness for optimal function and vitality that often exceeds what you experienced before the health challenge occurred. The transformation that occurs through this systematic approach extends far beyond physical healing into every area of your life experience. People who complete this regeneration plan consistently report not just restored health, but enhanced energy, greater emotional resilience, improved relationships, and expanded sense of life purpose. They've used their recovery period as spiritual investment that pays dividends for years to come. This understanding reveals why the future of medicine must include training healing personnel who comprehend the spiritual structure of human beings, rather than seeing patients as merely biological machines requiring mechanical repair. Medical and nursing personnel operating from this expanded understanding become integral healers who recognize the soul dwelling within every body, the thought patterns operating behind every symptom, and the Christ principle active within every wound awaiting recognition and activation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this evolution of medical training because the transformation of healthcare depends on professionals who understand healing as sacred work rather than purely technical intervention. This requires comprehensive 6-week courses that cover metaphysical Bible study applied to clinical situations, practical psychology of curative thinking that medical staff can implement with patients, and clinical case analysis from spiritual perspective that reveals the consciousness patterns behind physical manifestations. The impact of this integrated training becomes immediately apparent in how differently these practitioners approach patient care. Instead of seeing symptoms as problems to eliminate, they recognize symptoms as information about consciousness patterns that need alignment. Instead of treating patients as passive recipients of medical intervention, they engage patients as active participants in their own healing process. Instead of relying solely on pharmaceutical intervention, they combine medical expertise with spiritual understanding to create optimal conditions for restoration. The hidden truth revealed through this training is that every interaction between healthcare provider and patient either supports or hinders the healing process through the quality of consciousness brought to that interaction. A nurse who recognizes divine presence in each patient creates a healing atmosphere that enhances medication effectiveness. A doctor who understands the spiritual dimensions of illness addresses root causes rather than just managing symptoms. A therapist who sees Christ in every wound facilitates healing that goes far beyond physical restoration. Your decisions about seeking care from practitioners who understand these principles can dramatically influence your healing outcomes because their consciousness either amplifies or diminishes the healing potential available in every medical encounter. Write in the comments, "I seek healers who see my soul," if you understand the importance of finding medical care that honors both your physical and spiritual nature. This evolution in medical training becomes even more powerful when combined with creating what can only be described as home health sanctuaries, transforming your living space into a temple where every element actively cooperates with healing rather than hindering it. Most people never realize that their home environment is either supporting or sabotaging their health journey through the vibrational atmosphere they maintain day after day. Your living space becomes medicine when you consciously design it to support healing at every level of your being. The transformation begins with introducing daily sacred music that systematically elevates your mind and calms your nervous system. This isn't background noise or casual entertainment. This is strategic use of sound frequency to create healing vibrations that penetrate every cell of your body. Behind the scenes of this musical medicine, your stress hormones decrease, your immune function improves, and your overall capacity for healing expands simply because you're bathing your consciousness in harmonious frequencies that support restoration rather than agitation. Your mindset about the sacredness of your home environment directly influences how effectively it can support your healing journey. When you implement systematic devotional reading of specific psalms and gospel passages, you're creating a steady stream of healing consciousness that permeates your living space. This practice goes far beyond religious ritual. It's practical application of truth principles that establish your home as a place where divine intelligence is welcomed, recognized, and actively invited to participate in your daily experience. The impact deepens through systematic elimination of complaints, criticism, and negative conversation patterns that poison the atmosphere and create stress chemistry in everyone exposed to them. What you speak in your home becomes the vibrational foundation upon which all healing must occur. Your decisions about what kinds of conversations to allow, what types of media to consume, and what emotional atmospheres to cultivate directly determine whether your home supports or undermines every healing process happening within its walls. This sanctuary creation culminates in establishing a nightly alignment routine that includes gratitude practice and positive declarations before sleep, ensuring that your subconscious mind receives healing instructions during the hours when cellular regeneration occurs most actively. The quality of consciousness you maintain during sleep directly influences how effectively your body can repair, restore, and regenerate overnight. Now, I want to go even deeper into the ultimate destination of this entire healing revolution, because understanding where we're headed helps you align with forces that are already transforming healthcare at the deepest levels. Tomorrow's medicine will be integral, or it will not survive. It won't suffice to have the most advanced antibiotics, the most sophisticated procedures, or the most precise diagnostic equipment. Consciousness and soul recognition will become essential components of effective healthcare because we're discovering that healing without spiritual alignment is incomplete, temporary, and often unsuccessful. The hidden truth emerging in forward-thinking medical institutions is that the future of healthcare lies in recognizing every healing act as conscious cooperation with divine intelligence rather than human manipulation of biological processes. In tomorrow's hospitals, you'll find silence rooms specifically designed for meditation and prayer, chapels staffed with praying nurses who understand spiritual healing principles, and laboratories conducting research on how hope, peace, and faith measurably accelerate medication efficacy and surgical outcomes. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey into the profound connections between spiritual consciousness and medical healing, you've just experienced something that most people never discover: the hidden truth that your mind, body, and spirit were always designed to work together as one unified healing system. What we've explored today isn't just theory. It's practical wisdom that can transform every health challenge you'll ever face. This understanding changes everything about how you approach wellness, recovery, and even how you support others in their healing journeys. You're now part of a quiet revolution that's rediscovering ancient healing wisdom while embracing the best of modern medicine. That's incredibly valuable knowledge, and if you found this perspective as eye-opening as I believe you did, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. We dive deep into these life-changing connections between consciousness and healing on a regular basis, always with the same practical, no-nonsense approach you experience today. If this message resonated with something deep inside you, if you felt that spark of recognition when we talked about your body as God's temple, or the power of your words to influence cellular healing, leave a comment saying, "This message was meant for me." I read every comment, and there's something powerful about declaring your readiness to embrace this integrated approach to health and healing. And if you felt that connection we've built together over these past minutes, if this conversation has shifted something in your understanding, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people discover these transformative principles, and, honestly, it lets me know that this message is reaching the hearts and minds it's intended to serve. There's a video right here that goes even deeper into practical applications of these principles. Specific techniques you can start using today to enhance any medical treatment you're receiving or support someone you love in their healing journey. Click and continue with me over there, because this conversation is just beginning, and the most powerful revelations are often found in the details.